You're listening to the Bulldog Hour, getting you inside the Wilson football program with weekly game previews, recaps, highlights, and interviews. Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Bulldog Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mays, and sitting next to me is my co-host, Justin Raffoff.
Yeah, it's good to be here. We've reached that point. Not to skip over a bunch of things, but they mentioned at the end of the scrimmage, it's now game week, right? So
yeah, they've completely turned their attention to Central Dauphin, Wilson's Week 1 opponent. And we're back to a normal fall football schedule. 10 games on the docket, starting with non-league games. Central Dauphin up first, Mifflin in week 2. But we won't look too far ahead because this is a weekly show, and we'll be able to tackle all of these opponents in due time. But tonight, we still have to hear from our senior players. We haven't gotten to talk to them yet. We haven't broadcast the interviews with them, and that's what we're doing this evening, and we're looking forward to putting that out there so you can get to meet some of these guys, that haven't had the chance to speak on their team. They're getting ready to go to battle with guys that they've been playing with for a number of years, and that's one of the big things when we talk to big time college players, or we've talked to a few professional NFL guys in our time, and they all mention that there's obviously advantages and benefits and positives of playing in college and the NFL, but you'll never have the same type of camaraderie and feeling of community as you do in high school. And we want to make sure that we talk to a dozen players.
yeah.
So we got a set of 6, a set of 5, and then we were able to get one-on-one after the scrimmage because, you got to talk to the starting quarterback before the season starts. So we wanted to make sure that we got that opportunity in, and Justin and I were able to catch up with Brad, and we will have that as the last interview on the evening. So before we move on to the interviews, again with the 12 senior Bulldog players, we're going to run through our housekeeping stuff here and just remind everyone that the Bulldog Hour is presented by May's Sandwich Shop, and appreciate their sponsorship every year over year, but they're not the only one. We also have a few new sponsors, maybe not new overall, but new to the program for this season, and that is Andy Herr back once again, and Marty Palm. We appreciate their donations and support of the show, as well as 3 other individuals that prefer to remain anonymous, but we appreciate everything that they all do for us to keep this show going. And we're very appreciative of that. And if you would like to help us, there are many ways to do that. Sponsorships, advertising, the in-kind donations, visiting the website, bulldoghour.com, and our favorite here, Justin's in particular.
Yeah, like and share. And that can be online or even talking about it. I know I had some people on Saturday come up and just thank me for things that we do on the show, and it's always nice to hear that and tell other people.
Yeah, spread the word. If no one knows what we do here, let them know, and how they can watch and listen along, catch us after the fact. And bulldoghour.com is a great place to check everything out.
Yeah, and I just have to laugh because I was a couple things, but one, I was thinking, I'm like, oh man, maybe this year we'll get to meet up with Andy again at one of our games. And then I know he's come to West Lawn at least once where we met up after the game. But, we after that, when we're away at Hempfield, sometimes that has been a key one. But I know I met Marty during the alumni flag football game. That's when I got to meet him. So it's nice to actually be able to put
a name with a face, however you want to say it.
I was going to say a face with a name. Actually, no, I wasn't, because I was going to say something that didn't make sense, and so I stopped myself and just was talking slow. that's the way it works, right?
That is how it works sometimes.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone enjoyed our show last week where we had Mike Drago live with us talking about MikeDragosports.com. Today is the last day, and actually it might be locked down by now. He had the first 3 weeks. The site was free for everyone to see and check out, find out what the website's going to be about and his coverage. But from this point forward, it is going to be subscription-based, so hopefully everyone has hopped on board with Mike's coverage. He was at the scrimmage on Saturday. He's got a lot of things coming. Just announced that former newspaper scribe Jason Garante is going to be covering the Berks soccer season. So we kind of alluded to that in the past.
Last week he didn't, in even off air, he didn't show his cards off air either with regards to that. Not we didn't really press, but he mentioned that he had something that might be in the works. We'll kind of see how it works out. So that's exciting because it's already kind of showing that there has to be some kind of demand for it that is getting back to him. So that's awesome, and look for great coverage there. And it's great to have places that we can get really good high school sports, and in this case, high school football and soccer coverage.
3 weeks in, it's already growing, so that's a good sign. But if you haven't gone on board yet, make sure you do so. Support Mike Drago Sports, and he can cover more sports, more teams with the more people that are out there supporting him.
Yeah, if you like the coverage, I know it's not necessarily for everybody, but if you like the coverage, a subscription is a way to kind of show that you like what he's putting out there.
Absolutely. So, not to be outdone, on next week's show, which will be live Sunday, August 29th at this time, those locations that you should be used to by now, we're going to have another Berks media member, Paul Roberts, who just launched his own website, Berks Sports Report. He's been working on that over the last month, doing a ton of interviews with student athletes. Paul's been on the show a few times over the past year, but we're going to welcome him back on. We're going to recap the Central Dauphin game with him and then preview the game against Governor Mifflin and talk about his sports media venture that he just launched a few days ago.
Yeah, I took a look. It was pretty impressive. It's an exciting time because I know people have keep an eye on what kind of coverage exists out there for these things. And again, maybe in my worldview, things get skewed a little bit. But I mentioned when Mike was on the show last week, the reason I subscribe to the paper, 98% of that, maybe higher. I'm trying to be generous for things that I'm not accounting for on the spot, is for the sports coverage. Whether that's the local sports coverage or probably the Penn State sports coverage as well. That's what I subscribe for. And so, having places where I can get that coverage through Mike and Paul, that's two Berks County sports legends there in terms of sports coverage. So, it's a positive thing in my mind.
It's great to have for sure. So I just had the 2021 schedule up there, and believe it or not, we're already steamrolling our way to week 4. Heat week over, camp open, scrimmage against Coatesville done, Central Dauphin on deck. So we are in the thick of things. Pennsylvania high school football season is here, which is absolutely wonderful. But Justin, I don't know if you don't have anything else to say. We're going to roll right into our interviews with the senior players.
Sounds good.
All right. So up first, I sat down about 10 days ago with, I believe this first group is with 6 individuals. And I will say that we were up in the coach's den, and unfortunately, the air conditioning unit got the best of us. There's a little bit of a hum you're going to hear in this first one. I didn't think it would be as bad as it is, but you can still hear me and the players, but I'm sorry, that will be annoying.
And we did check it out to take that, to try and fix it on this end, take that sound out. It really is worse.
If we took the hum out, you wouldn't be able to hear some of the answers. So you're going to have to deal with, unfortunately, the air conditioning hum for this first set of interviews for about 20 minutes. I did turn the air conditioner off for the second set as I looked back and realized that it was much worse than I anticipated. So I apologize for that, but We've got about 45 minutes of interviews with 12 senior players coming your way right now. All right, so our first set of player interviews for this season is with these 6 gentlemen here. Before we get started, I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves. So starting on the left, and tell us your positions.
John Ramsey, guard, DN, linebacker, outside linebacker.
Eli Rodriguez, defensive tackle.
Dominic Memo, defensive tackle.
Gannon Brubaker, quarterback and safety.
Josh Drake, wide receiver and safety.
All right, guys. So first off, just let us know how were your off season, spring, summer workouts, and how was team camp? How are things coming together? Feel free to jump in. Doesn't matter who starts.
Yeah, it's great. I think team camp definitely helped us a lot. That's 12 practices that we didn't get last year that we got this year, and the team's really coming together chemistry-wise. We're starting to make really big strides. So it's looking good.
Spring ball helped a lot too. Last year we didn't get to have spring ball, so that's another 2 weeks of practices or something like that. It helped us a lot.
Yeah, a lot more time to prepare this year, which is really going to help us compared to last year with COVID.
So you guys have mentioned and alluded to it now, just on that first question. COVID really impacted everything that happened last year. Specifically, everything you just mentioned didn't occur, so you didn't get time to mold as a team or get better individually at your positions. What do you think will be the biggest stride this season that you didn't get last year? What was the facet of spring ball or camps that you really appreciated getting back this season?
More time together with the team. Last year we missed out 2 months together. A lot of team bonding.
Also, a lot more time in the weight room and doing more off-season sled workouts, so that we'll be a lot better condition this year.
Yeah, we'd be.
There were no restrictions, so
We
we
didn't
could
have-
really just play normal this summer.
We didn't have 3 days last year, so now this year we have 3 days again. It's going to give us a lot more time to get better and work on our positions.
So many of you have, I know, followed the Wilson program for a long time. You know that there's a strong tradition of one-year starters, seniors that come up and make a huge impact just with their last season. It's something that happens all the time. You've got players that step up when needed. Who's someone that you think could fit that bill this year? Who's a guy that was under the radar maybe as an underclassman, but you think is going to have a huge year as a senior that the fans and community may not know of yet?
Yeah, I'll give you 2. I got Jack Durning at center, or either the guard positions. He's really doing some great things right now.
I'm gonna give you.
Say Alex.
I'll give you.
I was gonna say Alex.
Number right here.
Yeah, just throw them all out there.
I was
Oh,
going to say,
yeah.
Memo,
Right.
that first name would be the linebacker.
Evan Williams too. Never
Oh
seen
yeah,
it.
we got a lot of those guys just stepping up. They know their role. Really. I mean, Memo. I go get some good practice every single day. I can say it makes me that much better. So him to come on the scene this year is gonna be great.
So we got, you said Dominic Memo, Evan Williams, Jack Durning, Alex Worley. So 4 right off the bat. You guys immediately jumped out. Now, did you start to see this transition or explosion of their talents in the spring? That just all of a sudden it clicked?
We've been seeing it since last year. Since last year, I've been seeing him go against our starting lineman, putting up a fight. A really
He
good
was
fight.
tearing up with one team last year. So
Yeah.
kind of do
So-
that next year.
He kind of he was our defensive tackle for the next year.
No pressure. No pressure. Now, see, the nice thing is all the ones that you just mentioned are all ones that the coaches have mentioned when I asked them the same type of question. So you're all on the same page and seeing all the guys that you expect to step up in a big way this season. Focusing a little bit more personally now. I know some of you do. I don't know if all of you do, so you can let me know. Do you have aspirations of playing college football? And then how is recruiting going if you are?
Yeah, obviously I'm playing college. Didn't play too much last year. We enjoyed 7 games, so hopefully pick up this year.
Do you have a college in mind that you'd be really interested in, or are you just waiting to see who pops up?
Whoever lets me play.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page as TJ. I mean, a lot of kids only played 6-7 games last year, but definitely need a big senior season. But still, the focus is just winning 100%. It'll come with it.
I don't really mind.
You're not sure?
Yeah, if I had the opportunity, I would definitely take it. But I'm just like in the middle.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of just the same with them. I don't really. If I had the opportunity, I would. Just depends on how good I would do this year, and if I had the chance, I would play college.
Me too. If I had the opportunity, of course I would take it, but we'll see how the season goes.
Okay.
Same thing as that. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. If it pops up, you might jump at the opportunity, but you're undecided right now. Just focus on your senior year. So, if you all end up going to college, not focused on football now, usually the community really likes to know what you guys are interested in outside of football. So do you have a field of study you all are going to pursue, whether it's at a technical school or college, whatever? Is there something you're focused on?
I like realty.
Okay.
All that like real estate stuff.
Okay.
I'm into marketing, so I'm doing an internship with Legacy Logistics.
Okay.
this year. Marketing.
I'm kind of undecided, but I'm into like business administration.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of undecided too. I don't really know yet. I gotta figure out.
All right.
I have an internship with Remax, the realty company.
Okay.
But I like business as well and finance.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm definitely interested in business major in college.
Okay. All right. A lot of realty and business marketing. You guys are all very similarly grouped. Having gotten all that extra practice time, both as a team, individually, weightlifting, spring ball, team camp, is there something specific in your game that you've noticed you've made the biggest strides over the last year? Whether it's on the field technique or if it's off the field, the strength testing. Is there something specific you can point to and say, I'm better at this right now than I was a year ago?
You by yourself.
Yeah. Just what did you individually do you think you're better at now than in 2020?
I was like a lot skinnier last year. I put on a good amount of weight this year.
Okay, strength and bulk.
Yeah, I put in about like 10 pounds, specifically 230 pounds right now. And but the biggest thing I would say is just the confidence when I'm playing, like making reads at linebacker. And I got to be able to shout out all the coaches. I mean, just working with them in the offseason, getting that time definitely helped me. And my trainer, Daryl Daniel, definitely helped me get that confidence in making reads.
I feel like I got much bigger, like stronger, and also I not only have I gained weight, but I got quicker too. Off that line.
Good.
I feel like I got stronger and faster from last year. I also feel like I know what I'm doing better. Like I know my plays. I get to my caps fast. I'm just ultimately better at my position.
I don't want to speak for Josh, but I feel like as DBs, we're all on the same page now. We all know what we're doing compared to last year when you never knew. Like Troy got hurt a couple games and we had to fill positions. We didn't know as much as we do now. Like, I think that's really good.
You have to agree with him. I'd say I got a lot smarter and I know what I'm doing with the coverages more and just more understanding the game and like kind of why things happen on the field. So that really helps me out.
Okay, piggybacking on that last question, and before we move into like the team goals, do you have an individual goal that you all would like to hit? Receptions, tackles, something like that, or maybe something I'm not thinking of. Is there something that you're like, this is what I would like to achieve? Josh, why don't we start with you this time?
Well, nothing really individually. I just want to win, no matter what. If I play a lot, if I don't play much, I just want to win.
I agree with him. I just want to win, but if I get some picks in there, I'll take it.
I want to win too. I want to get some sacks, some quarterback hurries.
Yeah, I'm the same thing. I want to get some sacks, run stops. I want to be a big run stopper this year. Yeah.
Chaos in the backfield. Okay.
Try to go 15 and out.
Wins. That's all that matters, right?
Time with it.
That's what helped the team score, helped the team win.
All right. So every year, we talked about maybe the under the radar players that could step up. You gave me a few names. How about you give me a few names who have become like the vocal leaders? Who's keeping this team together and getting them hyped, ready to go each week? Who do you think that's going to be, and who's presented themselves already in the off season?
Definitely John. Yeah, John for juries. Very vocal.
Jaden too.
Yeah, Jaden's
I feel
And
like
Brad.
those
Can't forget Brad.
guys definitely bring the team together, get the team hype, motivate us. There's
John
gonna
bring
be
the energy.
yeah.
It makes the team that much better. It makes it more fun too.
looking towards the schedule now, the teams that you're going to play, do you have a most anticipated game of this year? You know, you see it from a personal level on the field. You might have a team that gave you a run for your money last year, or maybe they were a little chirpy at camp or something and you're ready to play them. And if you give me Mifflin, I want to hear what your second choice would be then.
I'll just say the 1%.
Game 1, Central Dauphin. Well, you guys didn't get to play them last year, so you know it's been now a 2-year waiting for you to get to tackle them, take them on again. And the Rams are always a huge test week 1.
It's a big game. We should set the tone for the season.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. I'm sure the coaches have talked to you and you've been able to see on the schedule. Those first 5 non-league games you're going to be battle tested by the time the league schedule rolls around. And I think you'll all be better for it to go through the attrition at the beginning of the year, go against some of the biggest and best teams you could see all season before the league schedule starts. So Central Dauphin Mifflin is a heck of a 1-2 punch to begin the season.
Township too.
And you get to bring up Township at the end, right? Yeah. That's always the biggest one. It's the biggest league game for the last 5-6 years now. John mentioned 15-0. That's the ultimate team goal for 2021. You want to just win every game you're out there. You want to win. What other team goals do you have that may or may not relate to wins and losses?
Say everyone to gain something from the season, and whatever that is. We all just want to go out of here knowing you're a better player, a better person. I mean, if we can all just come together like that, I think we can all learn some lessons from this year. Win or lose, and obviously the goals.
Right, get that W each and every week. We talked about the senior players stepping up. Some of those names. Now, feel free to give me any. Doesn't matter what grade level, anywhere. Who are going to be the big time players that pop this season? That the typical fan is going to hear from.
Jack Denver,
Cam Jones.
Nick Weissel.
No, I said it can be any level. I don't. Yeah, I don't want to focus. I'm talking to you as a senior, so you guys have an inherent leadership amongst you. But who pops among your class or the guys that are coming up behind you as being the big time playmakers and people that are gonna make some noise?
Brendan Hawk.
Who's Jack there? James Jackson.
Yeah,
Brendan Hawk.
Jones Brothers, I think we said that.
Jones Brothers. Yeah.
Mackay, Cooper.
Now he's a new face, right? He's a new face. Yeah.
I returned some kicks for
Eric Jackson.
Cappy, Nick Gabatono.
Yeah, we'll get to talk to Erica in a little bit. So, do you are those some of the guys that I don't want to say look up to because they're your teammates, but are those the guys that kind of make you stop and go, how did he do that, kind of thing? Like they're that.
Definitely Cam.
Definitely Cam.
Thinking that sometimes.
Cam, he's a really good open field tackler. He can tackle with shiftiness, strong, or any type of guy out there. He can tackle anyone. There's no passing.
Jaden just can't be you need to game tackle Jaden. Try to tackle with their arms.
One guy's not going to do it, huh?
That's the way.
So you're ending your senior year. It's your last season to lace up for Wilson football. Some of you have been in the program longer than others, starting way back in Van Reed, Lincoln Park days, and working your way up through. But so far, what could you say is your favorite Wilson football memory? Any level, anything, it doesn't matter. Feel free to jump in. It can be a game, something specific. Township last year, yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I would say Township last year also.
Township last year.
I just think the whole environment of the game, it was awesome.
It was just
Coming in, underestimated, we did it.
Yeah,
There was definitely some great memories sophomore year too. That team, even though we didn't play that much, a lot of us, but still just being with them.
Well, it kind of gets you acquainted with the overall feel of the program. You put in the work all summer long, but you never saw it from a player perspective up until that moment. You probably watched from the stands when you were younger, but until you're on the sidelines under the lights and with the crowd here, it's tough. And unfortunately, you guys didn't get that last year, which kind of makes that Township game even more unique. The coaches, all the coaches I talked to already talked about how incredible that Township game was last year. And obviously you all feel the same. And the coaches gave all of you, the seniors last year, and now you guys this year that were part of that team, mad props for going into that game and doing what you did. And so I understand why that probably stands out to you and will always be a huge memory for you guys. So this is a question I ask every year, and usually as soon as I ask it, everyone just kind of laughs. But what's it like to play for Coach Doms?
Fun.
Energy. He has energy.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. We know he's a legend, and we're just shuffling that one.
It's fun, but you better know what you're doing.
Yeah. He doesn't play.
He doesn't play no type of games whatsoever.
But it's right though, because he knows what it takes to win. So
He's really a great coach. Just pushes us through every day. Gives us good.
he always
talks,
knows what to say.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of accountability, but great motivator, and he's garnered that respect because he knows what he's talking about. And I think you guys all understand that completely. Do you guys have any? This could be specific individual, or maybe as a unit or a team. Do you have superstitions or routines you have to go through the day of a game, leading up to a game? Is there something that has to be done that if you don't do it, it'll just throw you off for the rest of the day?
Have to eat 2 chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
Unless-
No, I don't really got a routine. I just get in the game time. Get focused. Listen to
Yeah,
music.
listen to
Music.
I go with
Get in the zone,
the calm
make sure you
music,
have
not
fun.
The
that.
calming music, okay.
People don't-
Usually it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to walk around, pace around a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like sit in the bleachers before the game,
Mhm.
doing that, and take some laps around the track. Walking, I'm not.
So you guys,
I'm not gassing myself before the game.
right. It's all more of a soothing, relaxing preparation mode. So no one has any weird stuff. Well, you mentioned food, so you got the food thing in there. Yes.
Sometimes me and Jack Denver or some other lineman practice game fighting
Okay.
before a game. So
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah. Do any of your teammates have anything that you're like, wow, that is an interesting way to get ready for a game?
Oh, Cappy, when you put the.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Here,
The
on the
eye
eye
stuff.
black.
Eye black. Yeah.
It could be
That's crazy.
like
Do you guys have when you were growing up, especially if you were around here, when you're a young guy playing, Lincoln Park, Van Reed, whatever level you want to talk about, and you possibly came to the stadium? Was there a high school player you remember watching and thinking, man, I would love to play like him someday? Is there someone growing up from years past that you remember the name being called on Friday nights?
I'll say Iggy.
Iggy?
You see him going crazy on the field. You want to do that. Or
I still
Eddie,
like slightly
too.
remember Junior Joseph.
Yeah, Junior, I was just like,
Junior?
I remember, I think it was the district championship game. Like, big one.
Yeah, that was junior, senior year, yeah. What's that?
Dantzler?
Shane, yeah?
oh yeah, sure.
I was not really around.
Yeah,
All the guys.
I just moved here like
okay, a few years ago.
a few years ago.
Yeah, well, and those are definitely some big names that you got to watch while growing up. Junior and Shane, Iggy, some big time players, big time ball players. How about just to get to know you guys a little bit more off the field? Do you have favorite college or pro football teams? Do you like to watch football outside of playing high school football? And do you like specific college and pro teams?
Penn State.
Penn State,
Penn State.
Penn State,
Eagles.
Penn State.
Eagles go
Ravens. Ravens got it.
Ravens?
As you can see,
I was hoping. I figured you were gonna give me a Cowboys answer. So
He likes the Cowboys.
I'm not really expecting anything this year.
no.
Shouldn't
So-
feel good.
So well, I'm glad to hear, and Coach Raffoff would be as well, to hear the Penn State, because both of us are huge Penn State fans. Do you guys give each other a lot of trouble when it comes to college or pro team fan favorites, especially with Eagles fans and Cowboys fans
This kid.
intermixed?
Oh,
That would be
yeah.
the Eagles. You won't hear the end of it from him for probably a week after.
yeah.
Now, have you always been a Cowboys fan?
I've been a Cowboys
Yeah.
fan since I knew about football.
So you get to talk with your positional coach a lot about the Cowboys, I assume. Then
Oh no.
no.
I just talk about them every time we beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
I just like to talk about football.
Well, the Wolvers are big Cowboys fans, Ryan.
Yeah, I know him. He told me about it. I remember he told me about it.
Let's see. How about play? You know, we talked about the high school players. You mentioned a few. Is there a NFL player that is same type of question? Is there an NFL player that you like watching play or play in the past?
Obviously, Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that would be a good one to emulate as a defensive tackle.
Yes, he's probably my favorite player in the whole.
Yeah, big time player, superstar.
I'd say the Bosa brothers.
Bosa's.
Oh, I
Also
completely
fast.
forgot about them. And Trick.
Use their technique so well. And Trent Williams, a
Chase
tackle
Young.
too.
Chase Young, Trent Williams.
Tackle, but he's a dude.
Chase Young is probably one of my favorite players.
Okay.
Especially, I know him being an edge rusher, not really a tackle.
How about you guys? You got anything? Anyone that jumps out?
Like Greg Ward on the Eagles.
Greg Ward. Okay, there's a deep cut for you.
Oh yeah, Jalen Mills.
Jalen Mills.
I say that me like Darius Slay too, because I watch the
Okay.
Eagles a lot.
Yep.
I like to watch Tom Brady throw dimes.
Oh man. Okay.
What about Lamar?
And Lamar Jackson.
Well, yeah, I would think if you're telling me
yeah.
Ravens, Lamar Jackson's got to be up there too.
Tom's just,
All right, so then probably my last question for you here, and we'll get wrapped up, is just what do you each want to tell your fans in the Wilson community now that they can come, we think, back to watch you this year? You know, what can they expect from you guys on the field?
Win.
Yeah.
Dubs.
Dominating the line of scrimmage. Just come out to the games. Take advantage of what we can do this year. Have you guys out. Just put on a show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. A lot of great games in Gursky this year, and we hopefully we'll get to watch you guys get some of those victories on Friday nights here and afar, and we get a 10-plus game season in this year. All right, well, thanks, guys, for joining me for the start of these player interviews, and best of luck this season. Hopefully I can talk to many of you after your wins this Friday in the fall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bulldogs.
All right, so that was our first set of interviews with the senior players, 6 of them right there. And again, I apologize for the air conditioning hum. That'll be rectified here in the second set. We got 5 more player interviews coming your way, but you know, Justin, they I think they very much focus on what the coaches tell them, because, and I appreciate it as a coach and a former player, you don't want to look ahead. But the fans and us want to hear them talk about a whole bunch of topics and opponents and players, but they're very by the book, and I have appreciation for that.
Right, and it's better that you and I, like, you know, off air or like, you know, on the drive to away games or something, we'll go through and be like, well, if this happens and then this happens and this happens, because we don't need to have that same level of focus
Right,
at
no.
the game. Like,
No.
they need to focus on the next thing.
Right.
And it's good to hear that message is getting home.
Yeah, one
And-
game at a time.
Right.
They were focused on Central Dauphin, as it should be. So
Leave that all that scenario stuff to
let
to-
us worry about that.
Right, yeah. That's a problem for Justin.
All right, so here's our second set of player interviews. Another 5 seniors coming your way right now. All right, for the second session of senior player interviews, I'm joined by 5 more players. First up, give me your name and the positions you play.
My name's Kyle Hathler. I play left tackle.
My name's Eric Jackson. I play wide receiver and defensive back.
Jaden Jones, running back and linebacker.
Sean Dundle, wide receiver, outside linebacker.
Gavin Leonard, running back and linebacker.
All right, guys. So first up, let's just look back at the off season. How was it to get back to spring drills, summer sessions, team camp after missing everything last year?
I think not having camp last year was like a pretty big loss. So I think that's a big step forward in our favor. Because last year the team that we had, they didn't get to get all those practice, all those reps in. We did, and I feel like that really made it better as a team.
Yeah, I think camp was huge, especially as a receiver. Working with the quarterbacks, receivers, everyone learning the routes, getting reps. I think that was huge for us.
Yeah, that's what jumped out to the first group, and the coaches too were saying how important it was to have the off-season program from spring drills through LVC team camp, and that was really something that everyone focused on. what can you tell me, thinking back to last year, 2020, and the way it went down without having fans in the stands and the impacts of not being able to work together? What do you remember about 2020 and those impacts?
It was just weird. That's all I can say about it. It was just really weird. It didn't feel like an actual like high school season.
I mean, to walk out on Friday night and not see like a stadium packed like that. I mean, it's not like I don't know. It's just like that's something you want to see.
Right.
Like, you want to walk out to a big random crowd, and like throughout the game when they're cheering you on, like that gets you going, like stuff like that. Like that gets the whole team going, momentum.
Definitely. Yeah, we had to really like build off each other's energy, and make us everybody better.
Yeah.
Because there was nobody over there.
Yeah, well, I think we saw that firsthand. Thankfully, most of your games were broadcast so that people could watch from home. But relying on each other, we saw that in a big way at Manheim Township last year on the road against a team that has given Wilson a run over the last few years. And being down so many key players, you relied on each other, and it kind of came through in a big way. Wilson has a really strong tradition of having seniors step up and become starters maybe for the first time on the varsity crew. There are a few guys on your team in your graduating class that you think maybe we didn't know much about last year but could step up in a big way this season?
I think Evan Williams, he's going to have a breakout year. He's fast, has good hands, runs good routes, he knows the playbook, and he works hard.
Okay.
Alex Worley came in at left guard. He's been coming with first team, taking reps with that, and I think he really took a step forward in the game.
Okay.
From last year, for sure.
Sure.
Dominic
Memo?
Yeah, that's
He's
a big
turned
one.
up.
Yeah.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Everyone's been, I talked to the coaches last week, and all the guys you mentioned, the same ones that were mentioned by the first group of players, but also all the coaches last week too, and everyone really is excited for what Memo can bring to the table this year. So that's exciting. That's good to hear about some of the guys that we think could have a breakout season for the Bulldogs. Talk about your future with us for a little bit. Do you have aspirations to play college football? If you do, how's recruiting going? Just let us know if you want to keep playing ball after high school.
Go ahead. So you big dog.
I'm not really looking to play football in college.
Okay.
I'm more looking to play lacrosse.
Lacrosse. Okay.
That's me too. I'm looking to play lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Yeah, I'm going to college to play football the next level.
How's recruiting going? How's that process for you?
Yeah, it's definitely it's a blessing to be in it. Obviously, I mean, not a lot of kids can say that, but it was difficult with COVID in the dead period and not being able to experience college, visiting college and taking that experience on for him. But definitely, when I did get the chance, I took it all in, and it has been a blessing ever since.
I'll probably try to get a scholarship for track.
Okay.
Football. I have to really try hard this season if I really want to play football at the next level.
Do you want to play it, or are you focused more on track?
No, I would love to play
You would love to
football.
play football. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably won't play football at the next level. I'm probably looking to go to trade school or something after high school.
Okay. Well, that's a great segue, Kyle, because then my next question is, what are you interested in learning? What discipline you want to go into, a field of study, or trade school? Like, what do you want to focus on?
Yeah, so HVAC's a big thing for me.
Okay.
My uncle, he owns his own company, and I've just always been interested in that kind of stuff, just being handy with it and stuff.
Sure.
And I mean, going to trade school is a great option.
Yeah, absolutely.
Down that road, I mean, it's probably the best thing you could do. So hopefully I take that and shoot off from there. But
All right, Eric, do you have something you're interested in? You maybe pursue
I'll probably go into business management.
business management.
It's
Okay.
easy, and you learn a lot from it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm in the business side or sports side.
Okay.
So,
Business marketing, that's what I'm looking for.
Education.
Education. Okay. Well, you guys in the middle, you got 3 business people. I think 4 of the 6 from the previous session said business, so very, very similar interests. So that's good. Any schools you're looking at right now? You guys talked about lacrosse, track, football. Is there any school that jumps up to the top of your list right now, or are you still waiting to see how things go?
I'm still waiting to see really how things go, but probably Cabrini top of my list.
Okay.
I have a few schools right now. Probably Eastern University, Misericordia, Muhlenberg, Stockton, Arcadia.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, there's some schools that I'm interested in. They're interested in me, but probably some of the season roll out and see how it plays from there.
Okay.
I don't have anything, so whatever comes my way, I'll take it.
Okay.
Pretty much.
You got it. We got it. Okay. So looking at yourself now versus the 2020 version of you, what do you think you've gotten better at football-wise, on the field, off the field, specific technique or fundamental strength? Like, what are you better at right now than you were a year ago?
The mental part of the game, I feel like last year I was a junior and I stepped in, I started at right guard, and you definitely have to change your mind. Like it's so different compared to like when your first game, and like mental stuff with like certain steps to take while blocking a defender, like the little stuff that like makes you a better player is what I feel like I got better at from last year to this year.
Okay.
Yeah, over like the whole year I've been working on footwork and mental reps, like knowing what I have to do even when I'm not even playing. And like seeing other people do it and like lead as example, try to help everybody else.
Yeah, definitely the mental part of the game, and that slowed down for me as years went on. So yeah, definitely the mental part.
For me, getting bigger, I jumped up from 185 to like 205 this past year after my junior year, and then also like mental game, like learning to read defenses as a receiver, like learning what coverage the corners in, and just playing leverage.
I definitely said the mental part of the game too. Just learning both sides of the ball and what to do.
Good. How about looking at it from your perspective of, everyone always talks about the team goals and they're the most important, and we'll get to that, but how about, do you have anything on your checklist that you want to accomplish, statistically speaking, yards, touchdowns, receptions, tackles? Like, is there something that you're really like, I'd really like to hit this benchmark? Gavin, why don't we have you go first?
I want to do the best I can, because if I know I'm doing the best I can, I know it's going to help my team in any way. So if that's being leading tackler, then that's being leading tackler.
Personally, I don't really care about my stats. I just want to catch every ball that's thrown to me, block for the running backs out wide, and then do whatever I got to do on defense to help the team.
Yeah, same. Team first, obviously, but I do have personal goals that I want to achieve myself throughout the season and at the end of the season as well.
I really just want to see Wilson win. Like, I just want to go all the way on everything.
Yeah, I want to go all the way. If we go out, at least we went out and give 100%. If we don't, we don't. Our goal is to go all the way. Do anything we can possibly to get there.
Yeah, well, it sounds like the coaches have you all grounded, willing to sacrifice for your own gain so that the team has success on the field. Who are our leaders of the team this year? Every time there's a graduating class moving on and another group of seniors step up and you're all a part of that class, who are your vocal leaders, the people that are going to get this team, hold the team together or get them hyped up on game day? Who jumps out to you?
I would say John and Jaden. Pretty much everyone.
John,
Jaden, Brad.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'd say those guys.
they're definitely bigger.
Got the loudest voices.
And then how to set the tempo. It is good for a team.
It's everybody holding themselves accountable and holding each other accountable for everything that we do. So everybody can be a leader in their own sense.
Yeah, your teammates in the first group said the exact same thing. It was John, Jaden, and Brad were the three that stood out, but they said how your class is very close. So it's good to see, good to hear. What's your most anticipated game? There's, you got hopefully we get 10 games this year, unlike last year. We all know that Mifflin's always a big one. So if Mifflin's the one you're most looking forward to, what is your second most anticipated game this year?
Definitely Central Dauphin. Central Dauphin, and then later in the season, Manhunt. But Central Dauphin for sure.
Say Central Dauphin the start of the year sets the tone for the rest of the year.
Yeah, they're coming back for revenge.
Yeah, not being able to play against them last year and then you beating them back in 2019. It's quite the way to kick off the season against a team like Central Dauphin. And you mentioned the bookend with Township. That you guys are all on the same page. Those are the ones that jumped out to the first group as well. Focused on that first game of the year, and it comes against an extremely talented team from Central Dauphin. What are your team goals for 2021? And not even necessarily focused just on the number of wins and team accomplishments, but is there something else you want to see the team do this year?
Progressively get better week after week.
That's good.
For sure.
Having each other's backs no matter what. Together, everything we do together.
see the younger kids, watch what the seniors do or the upperclassmen do,
think
and
young
like
kids get
mirror
better
off of
too.
that, watch them get better, and like as the scout team gets better and better each week, it'll make us better. Like,
Getting them in the game as much as possible as well.
So we talked about the 2B seniors, the other players in your class that could have a breakout year. How about some of the underclassmen? Who should the fans and the community be excited to watch this fall?
Cam Jones, his brother.
And Jack Dendel at right tackle.
Yeah.
He's young. I think he's actually a sophomore.
He is.
Jack Dendel,
Yeah, Jack's
my
a
brother,
sophomore.
He's a
Yeah.
rising sophomore. You should watch out for him.
The people that really don't get enough attention up front of the line, they're both versatile. Jack Daniel and Lewis and Kurzweil. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but definitely them two. Obviously, the line doesn't get a lot of attention, but them two you should be looking out for. Definitely. Working hard, definitely. Under their spot.
Landon Farrell about to step up big too.
Ryan
Yeah.
McMillan too.
Right.
Nick Weitzel, I think Nick
Yeah,
Weitzel's
Weitzel,
gonna have a good year.
Weitzel too, yeah.
Who of those on your team just makes you kind of stop and maybe stare in awe and be like, how did he just do that? Like, who's the person that stands out and goes, I can't believe that someone was able to accomplish that?
I mean, Cam's a pretty talented player. I think a lot of stuff he does is eye-opening. Definitely.
I'll say TJ Flight.
Okay.
He's always there doing something crazy. And he'll do it like with ease. And you just look back and you're like, it was easy for him. But it would be so challenging for anybody else.
Memo too. Taking those offensive reps and he's on defense. He blows up some plays and you're just like, man, how'd he get there?
So far, what's your favorite Wilson football memory? It can go back to your, Lincoln Park Van Reed, all the way up to now. What stands out to you? What's a big Wilson memory that you have playing football in this program?
Definitely being Mifflin my sophomore year.
Okay.
Definitely being Mifflin. I was
Big one in
Yeah,
Shillington.
that's crazy. Just being a sophomore coming up, that's the first. What was that the first? No, that was
It was the second game, yeah.
But like still, yeah.
Well, yeah, big rivalry win on the road.
I would say like seeing all like the seniors that usually don't play like previously, like going in like when nobody thought they would go in. That was like great to see like coaches actually care and like aren't just throwing people in just to like laugh at them.
Yeah, think about it. All right,
I
Sean,
haven't
what
really
about
lived here a long
you?
time,
Yeah, you're
but
relatively new
Meeting
comparatively.
Mifflin my sophomore year, and then junior year when we were in that trick play and Corey threw me a touchdown. That was probably I'll never forget that. So
Yeah, that was an incredible play. That was really fun to watch. So.
I gotta say, definitely that Manheim Township game last year.
Yeah, that was the one of the first
yeah,
group.
for
Definitely.
Everything was just felt like it was in slow mo, and everything was just so electric. Everything we did it with 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's
Yeah, that one definitely sticks out for many reasons. It's the focal point of the first group and the coaches last week when I talked to them. The accomplishments of going on the road to beat Township and the fashion that you did, being handcuffed and being during all this COVID-related stuff. Yeah, it was an incredible moment that won't be forgotten anytime soon. What's it like to play for Coach Doms?
Go ahead, Eric. You laugh first.
He's an old head.
Bro, he's a clown. Dogs is a clown.
He always has crazy stories that nobody believes, but
They
have to
can't.
believe it.
Yeah, they can't be true. Not all of his stories are true.
He always has.
I don't
No
believe
way.
any of them.
Always on the team dinners on Thursdays, he'll always give us like some crazy 15-minute long speech, and I'm like, how's he gone on? He says he tells a new story every single Thursday. Like he's been doing this for a long time, so I don't really know how he has a new story every single Thursday.
Hit his head on a rock like 30 times and keeps
Yeah,
going.
that canoe story didn't make any sense.
Yeah, on a serious note though, having Dons as a coach is it's great. And he's one of the best around, best to do it.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
He's a really smart coach.
He knows when to hold you accountable for the things you're not doing right.
And he puts our team in the best position to succeed. So I think it's really great to have him as a coach.
Yeah, he's earned that respect to maybe be a little goofy at times, give you these stories that may or may not be true or tweaked a little bit, but yeah.
Someone does not have that many stories. Like, nobody has that many stories.
Always some jungle stories. Always some jungle or desert surviving for like no water.
Do you guys have, and this could be you personally, maybe your unit or the team in general, do you have any pregame superstitions or routines, something you got to do before you head out to the field?
Got to zone in.
That bag playlist goes hard before a game.
Yeah, you gotta listen to that music that makes you just like
calm down.
Whoever's in front of me.
Sour Patch watermelon.
You got a food? You got a snack?
Yeah, Sour Patch watermelon.
How long have you been doing that for?
Freshman year.
Freshman year? Okay.
I wear the same undershirt.
Same undershirt? Okay.
I wash it after every game.
Oh, no, you got to let it get real rank and just, keep it going.
Yeah. Just the same undershirt every game.
No, yeah, I gotta listen to that music to calm me down before we go out. What song?
What song though?
Anything by Rod Wave. Give me Rod Wave. I'll listen to it before a game, and I'm ready to go.
That Rod Wave do hit. Let's go.
Did you guys have any favorite high school players growing up? If I know you moved here, just a few years ago. Yeah, so you maybe didn't have the exposure here at Wilson, but how about you other guys? If you grew up in the program, is there someone you remember watching on Friday nights that you're just like, man, I'd love to be able to play like that someday?
Iggy, Shane Danzler, Sean Howard's,
Twyford.
So many.
Twyford.
I remember watching Twyford and just wanted to be like him when I grew up. I swear. He was a dog.
And now he's coaching.
Yeah.
He's coaching.
And Troy always motivated me to do better.
Yeah.
Just because he's a small guy, just like me.
So the running backs jumped out to you, Kyle. You like watching the running backs?
Yeah. No, it's like I remember I think there was a game in Harrisburg or something a couple years ago, and Iggy just went crazy, and I remember watching. I was just like, this kid's just crazy. I mean,
yeah.
Some of the stuff those athletes that I named did are just
in
nature.
Long line of success at the position. Because I remember when I was growing up, I could just name those 90s running backs that you got to watch, and now you guys are talking about the ones from 2010s, and it just continues to grow. Do you have favorite NFL or college teams that you like to watch on Saturdays and Sundays? Yeah, either one, college, pro.
Steelers probably on Sundays.
Steelers, okay.
Kick rocks. Steelers. College, I really watch anything on Sundays.
Anything on college, Steelers on Sundays. Eric, anyone jump out? And you fan of anyone?
I watch the Steelers, but like.
Oh my god.
Ew. What team do you like?
The Eagles. Come on now.
The interstate rivalry.
How do you live in Philadelphia? We live closer to Philly than we do to Pittsburgh. You gotta like the Eagles. Gotta like the Eagles.
Just wait till Sean.
Oh yeah. You don't even need to say
I grew up watching the Chiefs my whole life. They think I'm all bandwagons because they don't.
Okay.
I'm not a bandwagon. But I grew up watching the Chiefs my whole life, so I'm a huge Chiefs fan.
Okay. That.
Watching Mahomes, bro.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And any college team stands out to any of you that you like to, or you just kind of like watch whatever?
I like watching Penn State.
Penn State, okay.
Any college game is fun to watch, really.
Sean said he liked the Bucks last week.
How about then college pro players that it's kind of similar to the high school one, maybe when you were younger that you're watching growing up, or what that you like to watch now? Who on Saturdays and Sundays do you really enjoy watching play football?
I say what's KJ Hamler.
KJ?
Julio. I remember I went
Julio,
to
okay.
I went to one game and he had a kick return during the whiteout game, and I just like remember so.
Devonta Smith too. He's crazy. At Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he does this year.
Okay. Yeah. I think then let's wrap it up. The last question, just what do you want to say to the fans of the Wilson community as they can hopefully come back and watch you guys play on the field this year? What's your message to them as the season gets ready to start?
Bring as much energy as possible.
We like to hit. We like hitting.
Be loud when we get there.
Yeah, be loud, big crowds. Let them know that you're here. All right. Well, guys, thanks for stopping by and talking to us.
Thank you.
We look forward to watching you Fridays in just a few weeks, and hopefully following victories, I can track you down and interview you then again.
Of course.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
This should be okay.
All right. So that was, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 of our player interviews. We appreciate those guys talking with us. It was good, much better sound quality with the air conditioning unit turned off. Of course, during that 20 minutes that I talked to them, the temperature went up by 5 degrees after turning it off. So I was happy about it for one reason, but a little disappointed. But got to leave then and get out of there and then go outside where it was 95 degrees.
Right,
so,
exactly.
But appreciate those guys talking to me. Good answers. I think my favorite question to ask the senior players is, what's it like to play for Coach Doms? Because I played for Coach Doms, but not as head coach. So he didn't get to give the speeches when I was playing. And now he gets to give the speeches, and you heard them talk about he's always got some story about a guy in a jungle or something like that. That was my favorite. I love that response. And the players' reactions to that question is always so much fun. But, yeah, they talked about at the end, the message to the fans or community. They're excited to have you all back out there to watch them. But they also mentioned that they like to hit. And, well, we got to see that in the scrimmage, and we're going to take a look at the scrimmage and preview the Central Dauphin game here in just a couple minutes. But first, we have to hear it from the Wilson quarterback.
Yep.
We didn't get to catch up with him in the group interviews, but Justin and I tracked him down after the scrimmage against Coatesville yesterday, and just have a couple minutes spent here with Brad Hoffman. All right, so we're here post-game of Wilson's first and only scrimmage this year. Bulldogs took on Coatesville. It was a very good game. We'll talk about that more on the show this evening. But here I wanted to make sure we got to talk with Wilson's QB1 this season, Mr. Brad Hoffman. Brad, thanks for joining us.
Yep, I'm glad to be here.
So now, Brad, take us through when did you get to the Wilson School District, and what was your first experience with the football team last spring?
So I started here in April, and I got into just off-season workouts with the team, with the wide receivers throwing in the gym. And just being in the gym, I knew early that we were going to have something special. Just with my wideout group, I think I have the best wideouts in the state. And luckily everything went well. Transitioned into spring ball. The team meshed pretty well, and then throughout summer workouts, we really came together. And now we got a game in a week, so I'm excited to see how that turns out.
What's been the biggest change or adjustment for you personally, moving from the Burst Catholic offensive system to the Wilson offensive system?
Well, obviously, more plays to learn, more concepts to learn, more things to pick up on. I think the main thing for me, what was hardest to learn, was hand signals. But I got it down now, so I think come Friday we're gonna be good.
All right, and you guys looked really strong on the field today. It was great to see. Finally get to see some hitting action from you. You don't seem to shy away from contact. I know you played some linebacker before, but I don't think we're going to get to see that on Gursky Friday nights. But if you could, would you get out there on the defensive side?
Well, I'm a team player, so wherever I got to go, I'm going to play. But I don't think Coach wants me on defense at all. Yeah.
Now, do you like to run the RPOs, the reads? Do you like to take the ball and run with it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm going to make the right read every time. Depending on what the defense is giving me, that's what I'm going to do. But, running the ball, I like running the ball. So if I get the chance,
I know you're going to get the opportunities, and I know you have the utmost confidence in Jaden and Goose in the backfield. We saw you get to pull it a few times tonight and run the ball. A spectacular play, that leap. Did you realize you weren't allowed to do that?
I did know I'm not allowed. I'm not gonna lie. My friend last year did it, and I realized it was a penalty. But it was just one of those things, just in game.
Instincts,
it's just
right?
Instincts.
Yeah.
He's going low at my knees, so I'm just gonna go over him.
Yeah, I immediately text this guy here filming for me. I was like, I didn't even realize that was a penalty at the high school level. And he's like, yeah, I think it changed a few years ago, but it was awesome to watch, even if it ended up with some laundry on the field. But that's all good. Everything looked good. How'd you feel in the first live action against someone other than your teammates?
I felt great. It was good to get out here with my guys. But I think Goose in the background. I think the main thing for us today was just getting those reps against another team, preparing for CD, because CD's a good team. They're ranked pretty high in the state, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, they're quite the program. You got them up in week 1. And I know you guys already moved on to preparing for the Rams, but I don't want to hold you up anymore. I know you want to meet with family, friends, and grab some food in the shower before you hit the film for the Rams in Week 1. So, Brad, thanks so much for stopping and talking to us. Best of luck this season, and hopefully we can talk to you after a few wins this year.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, so it was good to grab Wilson starting quarterback Brad Hoffman, and we'll clear this up right now because Justin said someone already asked him. No, he's not wearing 7 on the field come Friday nights. During the scrimmages, the players mix up their jersey numbers a bit. Obviously, Wilson's number 7, along with a couple other numbers, are retired, and then Brad will be wearing, I believe, number 10 come Friday night, but yeah, I'm glad we got to talk to Brad. I definitely want to ask him about that play where he had the cool leap. I mean, everyone on the field was just, in awe. It was such a fun play. And I was like, you heard me in the video. I didn't realize that was a penalty, but his answer makes a lot of sense. If you got a guy going low, kind of instincts take over, and I'm going to try to leap over him, so he doesn't take out my legs. But I guess they're trying to make things safer, but is that making them safer? I don't know. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. The scrimmage yesterday, I thought things went really well. I thought, the team came to play. It was fun to watch the JVs in the beginning. They went toe-to-toe with Coatesville, a couple of nice plays. It was fun to see the young guys get out there, and then the 10 and 10s with the varsity, a lot of substitutions back and forth. It was pretty even, but then the game situation came along, and the intensity gets amped up, and I think I thought it went really well. I don't think there were a ton of negatives from my vantage point. A few things here and there, but we got to see a rotation of guys, and I thought everyone had a pretty solid day. There weren't a lot of penalties on Wilson, which is always good. Always good to see. And I thought the offense moved the ball well for the most part, and the defense held a very dynamic Coatesville offense in check, at least when it knew it was the 2B starters going against the 2B starters.
Yeah, there were plenty of positives to build on there, and I think like we mentioned, there are some of those things that there'll still be plenty to work on, for as they move forward and get ready for Central Dauphin and the season. But it was, it wasn't like there weren't like a ton of glaring mistakes. Again, to me, like not knowing, play calls or what they're supposed to be doing there, things like that. So there are
guy in this camera, man, I swear. Oh, jeez.
This is what happens.
This guy needs to be replaced.
This
guy needs to be replaced.
But yeah, so
sure, blame it on the end zone camera.
So it goes, and they, there's certainly things that they need to work on yet. But you're gonna have that. It's a preseason scrimmage. But you hope that you'll be able to get those things sorted out this week, and there'll be fewer things after next week and fewer things the week. If you can keep building, especially at this point in the year. And we talk about this a lot, and we're going to be talking about it even more in a few minutes. But like the way the schedule goes in the beginning of the year, you're going to find out real quick where you kind of stand.
Yeah,
but
that's for sure.
But independent of that, you're unlike last year. You're not going to be like, one game or 2 games even isn't necessarily going to determine your season. Right. So that's a big difference this year. Again, this is hopefully back to more like what it had been, and so you got to progress and build through those weeks and hit hopefully league play in another month or so at a little bit better than you were before. When you're in the scrimmage, you hopefully you're not making the same mistakes.
Right. So, I mean, you don't just like, hopefully a lot of you have been watching the NFL preseason just to get football back. It's the same thing here. You're going to be able to tell a little bit about your team, intensity and focus, aggression, which we get to see, but going toe to toe, it's not going to tell the whole story, but I think it gives you enough to feel, I think you should feel good about the way things went. Was it perfect? No, obviously it wasn't perfect. But I don't think anyone ever expects it to be. The coaches don't expect it to be. That's the whole point. They're trying to see what does and doesn't work. And I thought overall it went pretty well. So I think that was reflected by both the players and coaches post game. And I think there were a lot of good things to come from it, and a lot of things to work on. And obviously they didn't game plan for Coatesville. They were already starting to put in their game plan for Central Dauphin, which, in case you didn't know, are different offenses.
Yes.
Just remember the guy
very
that
different.
was running the Coatesville offense for the last 4 years is former Wilson coach Jim Contafio. He's using air raid, full spread, tons of wide receivers. Central Dauphin, that's not the name of their game. So wildly different offensive to prepare for. But speaking of Central Dauphin, maybe we should talk about Wilson's Week 1 opponent here to close out tonight's show. So Wilson was supposed to play Central Dauphin last year. Obviously, that went by the wayside when the season was delayed. And by the time we got to start, well, we lost most of the non-league games. Wilson was able to play the Mifflin game, but went right into LL Section 1 play after that.
And, I know it's all relative, but we were lucky, with that because of neighboring school districts and all those things that we didn't have to. We were able to work that out and still get that game in.
So the Rams are coached by Glenn McNamee. He's been there for a long time. The Rams were undefeated in the regular season. Are they Commonwealth, Mid-Penn Commonwealth, I think?
I think Commonwealth is the big one.
Mid-Penn Commonwealth, they won that division last year, or conference, whatever you want to call it. They were 5-0. They made the district playoffs. A lot of people thought that they were destined to repeat as district champions because, remember, after losing to Wilson early in 2019, Central Dauphin hit their stride and went all the way to the state championship game. They lost in the state final, but they won District 3. And a lot of people thought that last year they could, have a similar path, but they ran into Central York in the playoffs, and Central York was able to unleash a big offensive and special teams.
Yeah, you want to talk about spreading the ball around. That was the name of the game at Central York, and they were able to get it done against them in the playoffs.
But Central Dauphin
turned a lot of heads.
Yeah, it turned a lot of heads for sure. Central Dauphin had a very good team last year. We didn't get to see them, but one of the biggest things they have coming back for them is their now senior quarterback Max Mosey. He was a sophomore starter against the Bulldogs 2 years ago at Gursky, so he's back for his third full season as the starter for the Rams.
And did he start some as a freshman?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I've heard a few people talk about it.
It's also hard because we play them so early in the year that we don't necessarily always see what's happening there later in the year.
So I don't think so. We would have been at Central Dauphin that year, and I don't remember them talking about a freshman quarterback.
I know he didn't start, at least to start it, but I remember when we were talking before the game with, with Eric before that game when he was a sophomore, and him kind of telling us he was he's got a chance to be pretty good, and that was spot on.
Yeah, I don't remember. No, it was Hoffman.
Okay,
Noah Hoffman was their guy back in 2018.
Right.
Mosey was on the team as a freshman.
Right,
but he only attempted 15 passes.
Right, so he wasn't. He
was not the guy back then. But he did take over next year. Lost at Wilson. Then the team got super hot, like we just mentioned. Didn't get to play him last year, but here they are this year, getting to come to Gursky. So lucked out that we didn't have to go to Harrisburg last year. But outside of Mosey,
driving to Harrisburg on a Friday evening is always a joy.
Yeah, outside of Mosey at quarterback. They don't even have a full handful of starters back on either side of the ball. 3 to 4 guys on either side. So they lost a lot of senior players to graduation. So they're very inexperienced. And the tail of the tape is top running back gone, top receiver gone, top interior offensive linemen are gone, and their big name defender has also left. So they have a lot of gaps to fill, but a lot of teams feel this pressure, and Wilson is no stranger to having to replace a bunch of starters.
And while they may have a bunch they need to to replace. I am certain that they have people in the pipeline there that are going to fill into those roles. Like, we know they're going to have like just like a bowling ball for a fullback / linebacker. You know, like we know they're going to have
6'1", 215.
right. You know, like
that would be Tyrell English.
Right. So we know they're going to have guys that fill into these roles and that are going to be big and strong and physical, because that's how Central Dauphin's going to play. We talk about this every year. Like, you know what's going to happen. They're going to make you drive the length of the field. They're going to make you drive
They're make it
10,
you're gonna have
15
to earn it.
plays to try and get down the field. They're not going to give you an 80-yard chunk. And they're also going to make you defend them. Like, they're not afraid to have a 10, 12 play drive against you, just chipping away.
You better
then when they reel you in, they're going to run play action and toss it down the middle to like a tight end or somebody streaking down the middle.
Which we've seen hurt us in the past.
Yes.
So you have to be big, strong, and properly conditioned to take on Central Dauphin.
Which is why you referenced that game 2 years ago in the fourth quarter when we got the ball. I think it might have been a goal line stand, and we got the ball like inside our own 5 or something like that. Or maybe it was a good punt. I don't know. But
I don't remember.
We ended up having like an 8-minute drive.
The length of the field, almost 9 minutes to essentially seal the game.
It was insane. Like,
offensive line was our Bulldog Hour player of the
against the team that, again, a lot changes from week 1, but against the team that went to the state final.
Right.
You know, so like that's the style you're going to be in for against Central Dauphin, and you need to. You mentioned they didn't make a lot of like penalty mistakes. Those are things that can't happen against Central Dauphin because
Wilson was good against Coatesville in the scrimmage.
If you're getting 4 or 5 yards, a 10-yard penalty is going to kill you. You know, so.
In the backfield, Max Mosey is back at quarterback, and I mentioned Tyrell English is the guy set to take over for Timmy Smith at the running back position. Blaze Heschler is gone on the offensive line, but Kyle Yeager and Ben Stewart return. Those guys are only 6'3", 290 and 6'2", 280. So pretty tiny guys on the offensive line. Like Central Dauphin always has. English is going to play linebacker as well. They like to have the running back linebackers. Miles Wallace, Darian Thomas, and Zion Allen are also back on the defensive side of the ball, and they do have one of the best specialists in the state in Aaron Stauffer. He does the kicking and the punting for them. So those are some of the guys coming back and names to watch, and a few others that Coach McNamee told PA Football News to watch out for are Randy Rudy, a senior wide receiver and defensive back Mason Carmichael, and a couple of linebackers that they're trying to figure out who's going to be that stud in the middle of the defense that they have seemingly every year. Like you already mentioned.
Flying around.
So look out for David Chase and Sam Sowers, both juniors, or sophomore Xander Toland could be the guy to step up there. So a few new names for the Central Dauphin, but we know what to expect.
And that should stick out that a sophomore is getting his name thrown around there because like at Wilson, when you see, a young guy getting into those like linebacker spots, and that kind of sticks out sometimes if it happens. That sticks out when it happens at Central Dauphin as well.
Now, besides the question mark of not having a ton of returning experience on the team, Central Dauphin also doesn't have the numbers that Wilson has. Wilson's trotting out about 80 guys or so on the roster this year. Central Dauphin's flirting with 60. So for a 6A team, 60 is not overwhelming. So it's there's
when it could
attrition comes into
when it
play,
could still be well into the like mid to high 80s come game time on Friday.
So it'll be interesting to see what Central Dauphin has, but they're a lot like Wilson. They're always a program that they don't have to rebuild; they just reload.
Right. We know they're going to have the guys. We know they're going to have big, strong guys.
You cannot underestimate them in any capacity. Like that would just be foolish.
No, there's no like we're going to ease into the schedule here. You scrimmage Coatesville. You're going to get a different style, but you better be ready to go on Friday night because Central Dauphin's going to be there and they're going to be ready.
Yeah, they're going to be ready to rock and roll. They scrimmaged North Penn this past week. I did not get a report on how that went for them. Hopefully. Everyone.
It's interesting too, like Central Dauphin and Wilson, two perennial powers in the large divisions of District 3, going against two of the powerhouses of District 1.
District 1, yeah. So, yeah. Well, we're here, Justin. Believe it? When we do this show next time, a regular season game will have been played.
And school will have started.
And school will have started, yes. So a lot of big things coming this week. So Wilson will host Central Dauphin to kick off the 2021 Pennsylvania high school football season. Again, 7 o'clock kickoff at Gursky this Friday, and it should be a good one. Yeah. This is the type of non-league schedule Wilson's been playing for close to a decade now.
And I feel like we've asked Coach Thomas about this in the past, about this type of schedule, and he talks about like this is what you do. You figure out who you are, your weaknesses or the areas that you need to work on, the areas where you can improve, get pointed out to you with a non-league schedule like this, and the goal is that you make it through, and obviously you want to be successful,
right?
But you make it through with as much success as you can, and you use it to get better for the season as it progresses. Because again, we want to have a strong start, but we want to be better in week 10 than we are in week 1, no matter what, you know. So let's get it rolling.
The Central Dauphin has historically been one of the tougher teams against Wilson.
Yeah.
It's one of the few teams the Bulldogs have a losing record against.
One of your favorite opponents.
Wilson lost 4 in a row to Central Dauphin from 2015 through 2018, and then like we mentioned already, Wilson was able to beat them in the season opener 2019, a hard-fought, hard-earned victory for the Bulldogs. Took a year off because of COVID, but we're back here again, and like you heard a couple weeks ago during my Coach Dom's interview, the expectation is that Central Dauphin will also appear on the next 2-year schedule, which should be finalized, in the next few months as the LL League is merging with the Berks League. Those league games are already set.
Kind of cycle back. I think on Drago, he had an article about like the 50th year of what would have been the IC. Well, what is the IC or the various versions?
Yeah, they still call it the IC, even Berks Football League, but yeah, the Intercounty League. So
it's the 50th year, but it's going to be different next year.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Well, sorry, it's the 50th LL League. I think it's the 50th year of the LL League. Sorry.
Yeah, because I think the IC older than that.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is.
Yeah, I think it dates back longer than that.
But yeah, it's the 50th year of the LL, and it's going to look different because of the
Berks merger. But I think Central Dauphin will likely be, on the non-league slate and probably game 1 unless something comes up. That's not signed yet. That's not sealed, but I would say it's very likely to see Central Dauphin back on the schedule for another 2-year period. Anything else to add about the scrimmage or Central Dauphin?
No, just, hopefully we can, focus this week. I know school starts and there can be a change to schedules and things like that, but make sure you're focusing on the things you need to focus on this week.
Hope the players stay healthy. We hope everyone listening is safe and healthy as well. And hopefully we can see a bunch of you at Gursky Friday night for the start of the 2021 Wilson football season. So for Justin Raffoff, I'm Joe Mays. Thanks for listening. Until next time, go Bulldogs.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Bulldog Hour. Want more Wilson football? Follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. Or visit www.bulldoghour.com. The Bulldog Hour is a featured program on jmnjrradio.com.